I wanna celebrate this life forever. Come on. I'm living it, not dreaming it. We getting it, black luxury. I wanna celebrate this life forever. Yeah. I'm living it, not dreaming it. We getting it, black luxury. A paradigm shift is occurring across the country. Justice is expediting the process of what we're becoming, universally unified in alignment with our greatness, which lay dormant for ages, but now it has been awakened. In this dispensation, we've been repositioned for a movement, excluding the lion being viewed as 3/5 of a human. My lineage says different. God.
Wednesday, I know what time it is. Revolution Ready Radio. We back.
Yeah.
I know y'all missed us. I missed y'all. Hey, Pierre.
How you doing, Chris? I'm doing all right.
You enjoying the day?
Yeah. Enjoying it.
Left up.
Yeah. Busy.
Same here. What's going on with y'all in Revolution Ready Land? We got a good show for y'all today. Make sure that y'all like, y'all share this. We have some important guests and most definitely some big things to talk about. Yeah. So I think we should just go ahead and jump right in it, right?
Yeah, let's get to it.
So our first guest is joining us. We welcome her beautiful smile, beautiful face. Saw her yesterday when we were in Minneapolis, Minnesota, for the George Floyd commemoration and in celebration of his life, and obviously focusing on what the people need to do next. So I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. She's joining with us virtually because she's in Minneapolis, lives there. So glad that she was able to accommodate and be with us today virtually. So Athena, welcome. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
How you doing? So go ahead and say hello to Revolution Ready, introduce yourself, and just talk to us a little bit about your organization that you founded and some things related to yesterday and what you've been working on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you guys for having me. It's such a dope opportunity. My name is Athena Papagiannopoulos. I'm the founder of Visual Black Justice. We're a Minneapolis-based Black women-led visual art social justice group. So we're basically we focus on police brutality 40% of the time and 60% overall community support. We have 6 pillars that we're based on. First off, foremost, Black Lives Matter always, period. We believe in defunding the police and reinvesting into our communities. We believe in bridging the economic wealth gap and amplifying and investing in Black-owned businesses and redistributing the wealth. Boots on the ground activism, always showing up and standing against injustice. Community support, ensuring our communities have stability and the necessities to resources. And, of course, amplifying Black women, listening, leading, collaborating, paying, just supporting Black women in general always. So that's what we're all about.
Awesome. So talk to us about, just yesterday and even just what has been going on over this past year and how Visual Black Justice has...
for sure. Yeah, sorry, you cut out here, but I think I got what you're. So over the last year, a lot of the George Floyd has given the platform that my organization and so many other organizations that have been here prior to this to get to this moment to where we have been able to speak and where everyone's finally listening and the world stands still to be able to be all these deaths matter and you're going to listen about George Floyd's death. And that's going to give us the platform to go back and to go forward on what happens there. Yesterday, we were partnered with the George Floyd Memorial Foundation, who was founded by Bridget Floyd, George Floyd's younger sister. Mm-hmm. And we had a celebration of life at the Commons downtown Minneapolis, where we really wanted to thank the community for us to get here. We were celebrating the remembrance of him, but it took, Minneapolis making the autonomous zone. It took the protests. It took, people losing their eyes and family members and all this to say that this man matters and that we matter as a community and that our people, and you're not going to keep taking advantage of the system where we don't have any accountability currently. So taking in that moment to digest, we finally got that yes, guilty conviction. But, we had been working so hard in that we haven't had that moment yet in our history to know what to do with it yet and to be able to process it. It's there's actually yes and not that moment of no and the protests and those things going on. So taking that debrief and being able to come back together to celebrate him and celebrate us was beautiful. It was perfect.
Excellent. Yeah. I was definitely going to say that yesterday the energy was just beautiful. It wasn't an opportunity for us to be in mourning, but I think it was an opportunity for everybody to be united, understanding what our cause is, but saying that we're going to take this moment and we're going to celebrate his life. We recognize what has happened. We recognize what has not only happened to George Floyd, but to also many Black and brown people across this country, and we're going to rise up from it. So I thought it was just an excellent way of being able to just pay homage, but also recognize the trauma that we in the work that still yet has to be done. Things that happened here in Milwaukee. What was going on here?
We had a protest for George Floyd as well. It was very interesting. I think a lot of the support that we assumed we would have, we didn't initially see at the beginning. But as we took to the streets, it just seemed like everybody wanted to be a part. You know what I mean? And even though we have some hiccups with some people who agree with certain things that we do, but overall, it was a good experience. I feel like everybody was in a good space at the time. You know what I mean? Like we just needed a second to, breathe.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think it was good. It was really good.
So Athena, like even what Pierre was talking about, people, not always taking on to it at first. Did you guys, felt that energy when you first were, started organizing around not just George Floyd, but just in general, even just as women of color, black women organizing around this, where you met with
of course, because there's different lanes for everyone, you know what I mean, including accessibility. So not everyone can physically take the streets, and not everyone is well enough aware or versed in what's going on to be able to be like, okay, I'm taking the streets for this reason. And that's why with Visual Black Justice, we make so many different lanes. So we make space for like protest art. So that's why when you saw yesterday, we had a community mural going on. So that way people are like, you're still protesting, you're still in this movement, but this might be an easier way to have more dialogue and conversations for us to be able to move into that. Okay, like now we're going to need to push you into the streets with us because we need the energy and the people. And I feel like when all together take the streets, that's why at first people are like, but as soon as you get these crowds of people together, everyone feeds off everyone else's energy. And that's why everyone's like, okay, let's do this. And they keep coming back more and more and in more numbers. So I feel like we have to make other lanes to get people started, to get everyone to physically be there and rally together.
Yeah, that's dope.
So speaking of other lanes, like how important is it? Because people often, have criticism, as you were saying, about, people who are taking it to the streets and thinking that is just the only lane of being able to, have impact in what we're doing. But talk about how crucial is it to have people who may not be vocal or wanting to physically get out. Talk about how important it is for folks still to be a part of the movement.
It's crucial. It's crucial because whether, you're not a person of color, you have a friend that is one, or your mom is, or something like this, everyone has someone of color in their life. It's almost like crucial at this point and hard to be around, especially when you're like living in the cities. So when having other spaces means whether you have like a youth panel where it's centered on the youth to be able to talk about that, because when we are in the streets, I feel like people are so much more protective of the youth that they don't get the platform they deserve to be able to talk about that. And like having avenues with just different multiple things of art and, being on this show, this is an avenue of protest right here. So everywhere we go, just making space and being like, no matter what you're doing, we're still in a form of protest. It just doesn't have to look or sound a certain way. Everything, no matter what you do, whether it's this Facebook post that is followed up by action, is still a form of protest. Having more conversations with family members who don't necessarily agree or understand what's going on is still a form of protest. So it's 100% vital to be able to protect your friends, your families, people you don't know, to keep making these avenues and keep having these conversations. Or else, because if no one's doing it and everyone feels, oh, they're doing enough over there, well, it's not until we're all doing it. It's not enough. So,
True.
yeah.
And I think even with those, with creating those different lanes, you get a chance to actually dialogue with people and actually get to know them on a personal level, and really engage with them on a different level to say, okay, well, we're fighting out here for the same cause, but now I actually have a connection to you. You know what I mean? And I think that makes it a lot greater.
I totally agree. And I think
the family thing,
people being able to see that, like those who are not necessarily like there physically, but like the world is watching this. And so the world being able to see, you know, how these different lanes are able to merge. Will we have confusion? Yes, that's life. That's whenever you're trying to get to a point of change from what you've normally seen, you're always going to have that confusion sometimes. But it's how we navigate through that. And dealing with a situation, an issue such as this, we expect that resistance. Right. And we expect the people to not understand. But I think we have to be up for the challenge of being able to reverse that course. And so I'm just, you know, I think we're all committed here at Revolution Ready. I know that you are, Athena. You know, feel free to share anything else. How can people, you know, stay connected? How can people find out more about Visual Black Justice and what you guys are doing? And then even further, you know, now that we are this year into, you know, the death of George Floyd, we've obviously gotten a verdict. What's next? Like, what's the next step?
Right. So you can find Visual Black Justice on anything, anywhere, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Visual Black Justice. We keep it sweet and short. So follow us because we have like a lot of like amazing things we do, and we give people lots of opportunities no matter where you are in the world to be a part of it. Especially with like our interactive art and things like that. But as far as what's next, we got this verdict, right? But he's trying to overturn it. And we also have these other cops with their other court dates that they try to push a year out because they thought we'd forget. So we have to constantly still be staying in the streets, still be creating these avenues, and still be creating these platforms to keep the dialogue going and keep the conversations going. And we can't say, okay, we got it, we stopped here, because I like to tell people we're not fighting for justice, because justice would be George Floyd and all these other families still here to be able to go back to their families and do their everyday thing. We're fighting for accountability at this point, and we're not asking for anything that you wouldn't ask for if it wasn't your child that was murdered, or your mom, your dad, your sister, anyone. So, you know what I mean? So really though, so whatever you would do personally to make sure that a cop was held accountable, if it was your loved one that was murdered in cold blood, that's what you need to be willing to do for anyone else. Because it shouldn't have to come down to that happening to you for it to be done, when you can help prevent that happening to anyone you love if you're fighting for people in these streets who you're going to become to love. So that's how I feel about that.
I love it. I love it. Can you give us, you know, so Pierre and I, we've been a part of, you know, our protests here in Milwaukee, and I think it's just been life-changing for a lot of us. I definitely can attest to that. It's been life-changing, and I feel like every day my life is a part of this, and I'm glad of it. But to even give, I think the flip side, where we talk about being so engaged, but also talk about how do you also maintain yourself? How do you maintain a balance? So that way, because this is trauma. This is traumatic. Obviously traumatic for the families. We have Mama Cole here who we're going to bring into the show. But it's traumatic for all of us who are enduring this and seeing this and living this. Talk about even if there's some suggestions that you have that you guys have done within your organization, or what you do personally.
Yeah, I think that is a two-part question, like how you just mentioned, because under my organization, you know, we have 60 what we call change makers who are our volunteers, and still have like a pending waiting list of people who want to come into our organization. And the reason I'm not taking in any more people right now is because I individually know every person. I individually do checkups on every single person. So not only am I holding my own trauma as a Black woman with this going on, but with having a mixed race group, you know, it's checking in and checking white privilege and all those things, and making sure that's all being accounted for. So every Wednesday we have a group check-in, and then once a week we have individual check-ins where we get 15, 20 minutes of time, because sometimes people are like, no, this week I'm cool. And then sometimes they're like, no, I really need to go in deep. and then we take that time. But also we're huge on mental health and honestly therapists and like those types of things. We get together as a group and we do art, and like that's our trauma release, and that's also like what we engage in, how we combat trauma. So we do that too. Another thing we do is we're all into plants. Whether you were into it before or after, you're definitely into it now. We were partnered with the Free Plant Company, and they give out free plants to combat mental health during COVID. And so everyone has taken like one or two, whether it was a tomato plant or something, and everyone's been upkeeping it. And I like to tell people, if that plant isn't doing good, that means you're not doing good. So how are we going to change? How are we going to fix your plant, and how are we going to fix you? And we constantly like, we're always checking in to drink water. Did you have enough sleep? And just those types of things, making sure we're getting a specific amount of meals. I tell people it goes right back to the basics. You know what I mean? Are you hungry? Are you tired? Are you lonely? And if you can't answer those questions, then we need to like figure out what that is. And I like to take one day where I don't do anything. I like to say I don't do anything because, I'm always doing something. But it's not on me as an organizer. It's like me enjoying someone else's thing or me being a part of something else in just another capacity, because I've dedicated my life to this. So I am in this all the time, no matter what. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because I love these people and I love what I do. And I just want to make sure that, if we don't have some people that are so fully invested like we are, then we're not going to see the change. So I just think that I have a strong enough team and just, support system around me to be able to check me if they're like, okay, clearly you're getting a little too tired. It's time to take some time off. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. Because it's hard to only check yourself unless you have those people around you that are like, okay, maybe you just need a second. And I'm like, you're right. I didn't think about it. So
that's true. I know that. Pete, are you checking me?
You need to be checked?
Yes. I think we need to get some plants.
Yeah, we're gonna get some plants, and we're gonna check on each other every day.
You start talking to your plants, you watch them grow, and you're like, oh my God, I can, you're not only becoming, a plant parent, you're learning how to be self-sustainable. So, it's the win-win situation in that.
And I think we have a smile on our face. I think laughter is always good for the soul. Yeah. But in all seriousness, we do have to make sure that we are staying abreast of our mental health. Yeah. May is Mental Health Care Month, so making sure that we're always being aware of that, whether it is in the month of May or any time of that, because it is a lot for all of us to be a part of this. So I love some of those suggestions and tips. Y'all like and share. Yes. Love that. Yeah. If y'all feeling what Athena is sharing with us, hey y'all, I see y'all. I see y'all. Camilla, thanks for joining in to say hi to what's going on. And we were all there yesterday in Minnesota. Athena, if you have time, feel free to stay on with us. I want you to engage more with the Revolution Ready family out here if they have questions for you. But we definitely want to get to our in-person guests as well, to welcome her and greet her and show some love to her. And also, to thank her for what she was sharing yesterday when we were in Minneapolis. So y'all show some love to Mama Cole. Yeah. Let me clap. This time. So Mama Cole, how you doing?
I'm still tired of the ride.
You and me both. I don't even know how I'm still up and dipper and everything, but we here. So y'all show some love again to Mama Cole. Shouts out to Mama Cole, the whole entire Cole family. Yeah. I just want to tell y'all Athena, no disrespect, so hear me when I say this. That Milwaukee came deep yesterday. TPR came deep. We made sure that we let it be known that the work that's happening in this state, the work that's happening in this city, but more importantly, the support that's needed from advocates across the country to this city. So I just want to give a hand clap, kudos, pat on the back to all of us for representing and standing up for ourselves and standing up for the work that we've been doing. But thank you to Mama Cole for taking that trip and for getting on stage yesterday and you just letting it be known, telling that story, even though you told it so many times. But yesterday, in a way, a message that needed to be heard. So tell us a little bit about what you felt.
Yesterday, people reach out to me and say they want to talk to me personally about my story. Because unfortunately, a lot of people didn't know about my story, the pain and suffering that I had to endure as a mother, as a victim. I never would imagine that I would have ever had to go through.
Exactly.
So I want to give kudos to the People Revolution. They've been there for me from day one. You know, Tiffany, my girl, Rebecca,
Love.
Sedan, you know, everybody. I can't forget about you, my girl. But you know, everyone that showed my family love. You know, we got things changed in Wauwatosa. We shut it down. We shut them all down. They lost a lot of money. But you know, we need changes.
So tell us a little bit about, you know, for those who aren't familiar with the story, if you feel so kind to do so at this moment, and tell us about, you know, what has transpired, what happened with the son, with Alvin Cole.
So basically, I can tell you, you know, my son Alvin Cole was a loving, vibrant kid. I had to address that because the media had addressed my son as an adult. He was only 17, fresh 17. February the 2nd, 2020, my son was going to Mayfair Mall to buy his girlfriend a bracelet for her charm for Valentine's Day. It's like every time I think about it, I cry. I called him up and he called me. He said, "Mom, what you cooking for dinner?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna cook some nachos." He said, "Bet, I'm on when I come from the mall, I'm coming home and eat." You know, he loves to eat. Like at the end of the day, he was still a kid. He went to Mayfair Mall to basically, you know, buy his girlfriend a bracelet. Somehow he got into an altercation with a grown man about my son's glasses. Very expensive glasses. And my son said, "You ain't gonna take my glasses." This is a grown man talking to my son, telling him that I'm gonna take your glasses. So basically, I get a phone call around 6:00 at night, telling me, "Tracy, you need to check on your son." And I said, "What you mean? He's at the mall. You would never think that he's going to the mall, anything would happen to him." So I'm constantly getting these phone calls, random people, check on your son, check on Alvin. And then I see breaking news around, I say about 9:00 that night, saying that a man was shot at Mayfair Mall. But they said a man, I mean, he's not a man, he's a kid. After when something said, "Well, Tracy, get up and go to Wauwatosa Police Department." Well, my oldest son, went to Freighter Hospital because they said the person was taken to Freighter Hospital. And then they told my son that no one was brought to to Freighter Hospital. So we all went to Wauwatosa Police Department. And I told them, I said, "I think the person that got shot at Mayfair is my son." So they looked at dumbfounded, like they didn't know what was going on. 2 detectives came out, talked to us, and said that they was going to call us back in 15 minutes. They never called us. So something said, "Go to the crime scene." I went to the crime scene. All I see was Wauwatosa cops. No Milwaukee cops, only Wauwatosa cops. I said, that's strange because, as I understand, if it was Wauwatosa getting into anything that had something to do with the police shooting, the other county over supposed to take over. And it was no Milwaukee cops there at all. As I understand, my son was shot at 6. And I went to the crime scene. It was around 10 o'clock at night. Once I was like, well, something in my head said, go to the medical examiner in Milwaukee. Went to the medical examiner in Milwaukee. Basically, I used to be a funeral mortician. And I know the people, you know, because every time I go pick up bodies. And I rung the doorbell because after a certain time, the door is not open. So it was a lot of people. My family was there, a lot of people. I can't tell you how many, but it was a lot. And I rung the doorbell, and my husband was standing there next to me. And I said, well, can you tell me the person that got shot at Mayfair is, you know, I think that's my son. And she gonna say, she asked me his name, and I said his name is Alvin Cole. And we described how he looked. And she said, hold on a minute. And she came back to the speaker. She said, is this Tracy Cole? I said, yes, it is. My heart she told me to come in. My heart just fell to the ground. Like, this can't be true. I started screaming. I said, Lord, this can't be. By the profession that I used to do, I came immune to it, going to pick up bodies, but not to imagine it's my baby boy. Went inside, me and my husband and other family members. And the first person that came to me to say my deepest condolences was the lady at the Milwaukee ME. And she said, Tracy, my deepest condolences. Whenever you can, I'm going to pull up his picture for you. And can you identify him? And I couldn't, today I never looked at the picture of my son. But my husband, he looked at it. And he was like, oh, this can't be true. This is all. And my husband, he cried like a little baby. I cried. A few minutes, about 3 or 4 minutes later, Milwaukee detectives came to the city morgue and took us in the room to talk to us. And basically telling us about my son. Asking us crazy questions like, this is irrelevant. I don't want to hear anything, about what you think or what you assume. And okay, I'm finna go because I don't want to talk to you. Okay. After that, when me as a mother prepared my son, I got him washed up, dressed for the last time, groomed him up, put on his clothes, picked up my baby and put him in a casket, for the last time. My son used to tease me when he was growing up. He used to say, Mama, quit looking at me. I can dress myself. Don't look at me. You know how we as parents, we help them with their clothes on. He's like, no. But I had to make a joke about it. About when I was getting him dressed. I said, you know what, son? I want you to know that I love you, Yeah. And I asked God to give me the strength to let my son come home, the way that he was. He had, It's hard.
Yeah.
You know, when a mother loses their child, and it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, I didn't know about the cop that shot my son. We thinking that this cop was a Caucasian man.
Mm-hmm.
We found out that the cop was black.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's from Uganda. And I don't think they like African American people because they said that we think we are better than them. But I still love people regardless of their race.
Right.
And it doesn't even matter that he was a black man. You still a murderer.
That's right.
At the end of the day. I found out that Joseph Mensah, the one that killed my son, he had 2 more bodies before my son. He had killed 2 more people. The first killing he did was Antonio Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
If I mess up with how many shots I think he got shot 8 or 9 times by Joseph Mensah.
Yeah.
Killed. I think that was in 2000. What year was that? 2016? No, Jay Anderson.
2014.
Yeah. So he was like a couple of months after. So 2015, Anthony was killed by Joseph Mensah in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, Jay Anderson, he was sleeping in the park. He liked to go to the park and rest, after coming from, be hanging out with his friends.
Mm-hmm.
So he was at the park sleeping. And once he was sleeping at the park, he was woken up by Joseph Mensah. Joseph Mensah had every protocol wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He came parked in a routine traffic stop. A cop supposed to put on their high beams, their sirens, and park behind you. Joseph Mensah parked right in front of Jay Anderson's car.
Mm-hmm.
And he approached his car on the passenger side of the car, not the driver's side, but the passenger side.
Right.
Those are 2 things that you did wrong.
Right.
It was reported that he never checked his body camera, to see if anything was broken. Not his body camera, but his radio to see if it was working. At first he said it wasn't working. Then he said that the video cameras in the car, in the police squad car, wasn't working. So all I know that he lies a lot. He shot this man 5 times in the head.
Mm.
And I think 1 in the shoulder by his other partner.
Mm-hmm.
If you won't say they ain't murder, that's murder.
Exactly.
That's execution.
Yeah.
Why would you have to shoot that man? He's a father, a son.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Anderson and Linda Anderson had to endure losing a baby to a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
And then with my son, Alvin Cole, he died February the 2nd, 2020. He was running from the police. A lot of kids, they is afraid of the police.
Right.
So the first instinct is to run.
Mm-hmm.
He ran from the police. Once he surrendered, he was on 6-point stand. He was down on his knees, his hands on the ground, his knees to the ground, and his toes pointing to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It was 5 cops in front of Alvin.
Mm-hmm.
Not one of them shot, but Joseph was the last one to come on the scene. He said his life felt threatened But you behind Alvin, you shot him in the back.
Right.
So how can you say that you was afraid for him? If that's the case, the other cops would have shot Alvin too. Alvin would have had shots all over his body. So it's like everything been slapped in my face, you know, because the family haven't had no closure. I haven't had any closure. We had October the 8th was the day that we had October the 8th. We went to the DA. His name is Chisholm. So basically, the day that he gave us the verdict, if he was going to charge Joseph Mensah for the murder of my son, his thing is he was beating around the bush. Okay, I said to him, well, my husband told him, is you friends with Chief Weber? And Chief Weber is the police chief of Wauwatosa. And the first thing he said was, we have lunch all the time. Wow. Now, is that a conflict of interest?
Yeah.
Yes, that tell me you buddy with him.
Definitely conflict.
And to find out that when we was in the room with Chisholm, he was like, I haven't told anybody. The family always get told first before anything. That's not true. He told Chief Weber 8 days before he let me know about the verdict of my son. That's when Chief Weber had called Mayor McBride of Wauwatosa. He's the mayor of Wauwatosa. And they called the, for different polices to come, West Allis, Waukesha, other police departments and the National Guards to come.
That's right.
Of the day after my son's verdict. And the day that we heard the verdict, it was me, Jacob Blake family. Jacob Blake, he been, helping us through the movement. He had came to my house and said, well, basically told me, let's go and, speak to the media, tell them what happened and stuff like that. And see, people got to seem to realize when they gave the verdict to my son, when Chisholm said that he told us at his exact words, I cannot tell you if your son's murder, his killing was just or unjust. The media keep on saying that it was justified. But Chisholm couldn't make a decision if it was just or unjust the same way that he did Dante Hamilton's family. So it's like he said he couldn't do anything because with the video camera of the car, it was like very light and you couldn't see the light. They was blinding everything for people who couldn't see what was going on. We see pieces, like they hugging each other, they transferring my son's phone, all this crooked stuff. So we went out, we came from the protest. We was going on our way home. We were stopped, me and my daughters and some other protesters, we were stopped by the police threw spikes in front of our car, so we couldn't move. Yeah. We was parked. So the police went to my daughter car, Talibia, and my other daughter, Tristiana, car. We was in separate cars. And they grabbed my daughter, my youngest daughter, out the car with a gun, the gun pointed to her head. Slamming her on the ground and basically manhandling her. With my daughter, Tristiana, they grabbed her out the car and twisted her arm. And I think they may twisted her leg. And then when they came to the car where I was, they grabbed my other daughter out the driver's side. I'm the passenger of the car. So they grabbed my daughter out of the car first, but she was going on live. where everything was going on with me. And the other cops came and they said, open up the door to me. I said, hold on a minute. I'm a elderly with a cane. Take your time with me, okay? And he said, I don't give a F who you is. I said, I'm Tracy Cole. They said that I never addressed who I was. And I always addressed who I was if you ever listen to the audio. Mm-hmm. They grabbed me out the car by my hair. And I said, it's enough that y'all killed my son. Now y'all trying to kill me. Yeah. Next thing you know, I'm getting hit with billy clubs in my head. I think I got hit like 5 times. And then I was tased in the arm. And then I was slammed onto the ground. They twisted my arm. It felt like my arm was broken. And then they kept on they was on my back. I don't know how many people was on my back. And they was trying to go to my neck. But I kept on moving my neck. I passed out for a minute because, they was hitting me in my head with the clubs. And then I said, and I kept on praying to God. I said, Lord, why this happening to me? Help me, So once they had me still on the ground, face down, it was a cop, Lieutenant Farino, seeing that I was on the ground. And he was like, oh, no, get her up right now. Yeah. Y'all missing, basically like, y'all missing the wrong person. This the mama. Right. And stuff like that. And everybody said that never happened in the history of, of mothers that got killed, kids that got killed. That never happened to them. So after when all that happened, he got me up. He took the handcuffs off me. And they said, do you need any medical? I did because I had a big knot on my head from the hit of the cops hitting me in my head. Mm-hmm. So I had to go to the hospital because I did pass out for a minute. And once they took me to the hospital, they was getting me undressed, and it was a male cop in the room with me when they was getting me undressed to see if I had any broken bones or anything. So after a couple of days later, the swollenness from my head was still there, but all the swollenness went down to my eyes. And they thought that they shut me down. They did shut me down for a minute because I was a barrister coming out because of the 2 black eyes that I had and the big lump on my head. Mm-hmm. And I was in the arm sling for my arm. And I was like, I didn't want to go out. I wanted to give up the fight, just give up. Right. But what it is they made me stronger. That's right. That's right. They made me strong. They made me determined to get justice for my son. That's right. Like I said, I'm not going to sleep until I get justice. Not just for my son, Alvin Cole, but for Jay Anderson and for Antonio Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. And I'm so upset because Wisconsin is so closed off. Other people haven't heard what's going on in the state of Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin got so many police killing here. Mm-hmm. You can't even go, your kids can't even go, or a black man, more likely a black man can't drive to Wauwatosa to go to the mall without getting targeted. Yeah. It's like I say about 80% of the police involvement is with African American males. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But y'all want our money, but we can't go and feel freely to shop. Come on. You have to be a target because they want to walk around. You want to walk around the store and they think that you're trying to steal something. Mm-hmm. We as blacks, we work. Mm-hmm. We maintain our home. And we try, sorry about that. That's okay. We try to maintain our home. you know, we try to bring our kids in the right path.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to say that Alvin came from a broken home. No, my son didn't come from a broken home. I've been married for 28 years.
Yes.
My youngest daughter, graduated this year from Jackson.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
From Jackson State University.
Shout out to Olivia.
Yeah, shout out.
You know, that's my little artist. She may be the president.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe she gonna be.
And then, you know, and then I have my other 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3 kids that graduated from high school,
Respect.
graduated from college.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it ain't like he was brought up in a broken home.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we don't have nothing for our Black American kids here.
Yeah.
We don't have nothing to ground our kids anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have structure because sometimes our kids don't have nothing to do. They bored. You know, that's why they do the things that they do. You know, going out there, doing stuff that they wasn't raised up to do.
Mm-hmm.
My kids had to go way out just to go-kart riding or go to the movies, you know, or want to go to a nice restaurant. They have to go way out.
Mm-hmm.
Why we can't have the good things in the inner city?
That's right.
You know, we need some changes.
Yeah.
We need laws changed. We just need business to be changed. We need help.
Yes. So Mama Cole, you bring up, I mean, this is a powerful story.
Yeah.
I think I've heard it so many times, and each time I hear something new and then I feel differently.
Yeah.
But I also feel like more has to happen. And you tell the story. I remember when you first started telling the story, and it took a while. It took a pause because obviously you're feeling it, but now you're feeling the biggest thing out of it, of call to action. And you're charging folks and telling folks that more awareness has to be brought about this. So I want to take us back just for a little bit for what you were sharing, kind of like earlier, that a lot of people didn't even know, like you as a Cole family, didn't even know the connection that you and the Andersons and the Gonzalez family had of, all unfortunately being put into this circle of families who have been traumatized by Joseph Mensah. So kind of talk to us about how you came to be, like how you found out each other, and then, just the courage that you all have had, and uniting together as 3 families in this struggle of trying to seek the same thing of accountability towards Officer Mensah.
Well, basically we was, the first person I met was Jay Anderson, Linda Anderson. Mm-hmm. I guess we was like at a protest, and they came to my youngest daughter, Talibia, and basically was talking to her and just explaining to her who they was, how they was impacted by Joseph Mensah. And then after when I engaged with them and basically talked to them, we became a family. Mm-hmm. We became a family, and and I wound up meeting Antonio Gonzalez, best friend Sandy, and then Sandy had introduced us to his mother. So we all became family. We all talk to each other. We all go places with one another, just to, show support.
Right.
Linda, she been through a lot, her and her husband, and she's still going through. And then let me say one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
With our lawyer, Kimberly Motley, excellent woman.
Powerhouse.
That we had.
Shout out to Kim, y'all.
Yeah, that my daughter Talibia had found her because we said we can't get no lawyers in Wisconsin. we had a lawyer. They just wanted to do a civil case. I didn't want a civil case. I wanted to be, I want him to be criminal charged.
That's right.
The money is obsolete for me. And to find out that the cop that killed 3 people of color within 5 years, shot his gun 19 times, he's the only cop in Wauwatosa had killed somebody.
That's right. There's been 3 shootings in Wauwatosa,
and that was
all
him.
at the hands of Joseph Mensah.
Mm-hmm.
And to find out that he was promoted,
Yes,
sheriff in Waukesha. Like, where's the justice?
mm-hmm.
When is the family gonna get justice?
Mm-hmm.
This man goes around partying, throwing bricks and stones at my family. We being targeted. Our phones being tapped.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be alone by myself because they targeted me especially.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter Talibia, because Talibia is a very outspoken person.
Yes,
She don't care. She don't tell you like it is.
That's right. That's right.
So basically, that is how we became families with Linda and Jay and the Gonzalez family.
Yeah. So as it relates to, well, first off, y'all show some love to Mama Cole for just being able to share that story. She needs that love. The whole entire family needs that love. And definitely we are keeping our prayers and our support and everything towards her and the entire family, and continuing to lift up the name of Alvin Cole, continue to lift up the name of Jay Anderson, and continue to lift up the name of Antonio Gonzalez. But, a lot of people, and that's why I always try to respectfully have families if they're up to it, to be able to share, the human side and share the story of their loved one, because of how the media will try to portray, of how the police departments and those who are affiliated with law enforcement would try to, portray the victim and the family and make it seem as if it's their fault. But I think the even bigger thing of this is that we see 3 killings by the same officer back to back, and how a lot of people in this city and in this state, and even really nationwide, didn't even know about what was going on. And it took, Talibia, it took you all, the family, to start marching, to start getting out in the media. And then TPR came and did, the job that as organizers and as protest groups are supposed to do, and come and support. So talk to us, Mama Cole, about, and then Athena, I want you to jump in too, as a supporter of families and supporter of causes like this. How important was it for TPR and even the work that Kim has been doing on the legal side to push this, to get this out there so people would be aware of what happened?
So, TPR, People Revolution, basically, they was very, very, very supportive. They put their life in jeopardy. They put themselves in harm. Reputations was thrown out there.
Yeah.
Tiffany.
I was arrested the same night as Mama Cole was assaulted and arrested, and the same night as Talibia. I didn't even know about it until I got out of West Alice jail that night and found out. And I'm like, what the heck? We went straight over to Waukesha to go make sure that we were there to support you all.
Yeah, because they the crazy thing about it is when they took Talibia, my youngest daughter, they split everybody, from each other. They had one of my daughters in West Alice, and then they took Talibia to Waukesha, and that's where Joseph Mensah works today. And let me put this out there: I had got 2 tickets They gave me 2 tickets after when they beat me up. I had one for violation of curfew that is bogus.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally.
And then the other one was they said they said I supposed to have hit a cop. That ain't true.
Not at all.
And it's like TPR, they've been through a lot. They've been targeted a lot. They shut down the mall. They changed these laws in Wauwatosa. Wauwatosa never had body cameras. Never. Until we and TPR and Anderson and Antonio and other victims of police brutality talked and made things change.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the help of TPR and my family, we have made Wauwatosa have body cameras today. So that's one thing we changed.
Shout out to all of us for doing that.
Another thing is a lot of Wauwatosa police officers had quit it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Since my son's death, I think it was like 10 of them.
Yes, there are quite a few. Mm-hmm.
And one of the cops by the name of Farino, he had quit too. And Chief Weber last day is on the 31st. So
June 1st.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, the 31st of this month.
31st, yes, you're right. You're right, May 31st.
May 31st, his last day too. He out of there. So what a coincidence. Why is everybody leaving?
Mhm.
Because they're going to get exposed.
Mm-hmm.
For the dirtiness, the crookedness, the covering up, because I believe in the, you call it tick for tat.
That's right.
You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah.
And we need to, instead of having cops investigate other cops, we need to have someone else to come in to investigate the cops instead of another cops. Because they support the group.
That's right.
Anything, they want to support each other. So we need laws to be changed. We just need, Milwaukee is in need of a lot of change.
So Athena, jump in here. Talk to us about, how important is it for, obviously, the bigger picture of accountability, but for the work that you do to be able to support families like the Cole family and the Floyd family and other families.
Yep. Yeah, so that's one of our main values is supporting the family in the capacity that they ask us for, because every case is different. So every family needs something different. Whether I had a family say, I can't get a picture painted of my son, and we're currently working on that as a surprise because that's what's going to help her heal. And we're over here, Tashira Garraway, who's with Family Supporting Family, she's the founder. She's working with TCC for J to get legislation passed, and we're over here amplifying that through art. And so everyone needs something different. So whatever they ask us to do, if we have the tools, the resources, the capacity, we're always going to do that because that's what they would do for us if the roles were reversed. So it's definitely important. And, for people that are like, well, I'm all the way across the world, what do I do? You have to just keep, sharing the stories and talking about them and, not combating against, the trolls online, but pushing the narrative that this needs to change. We need reform. We need these things. So it's huge. It's huge. And whatever we can do to support these grieving families, that's what I want to do.
That's right.
And I like something you said, Athena, that I find is very imperative that you said you ask what the family needs instead of forcing your own opinion on what you think can help them heal or can help them, subdue some of the emotions and feelings that they're going through. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, everyone grieves different. You know what I mean? You have the people that, it takes them, 20 years to look at, their daughter or son's picture again, or those angry grievers that are just yelling and angry, and some people that are just like, I just need to eat because I can't take care of myself right now, or, I need help supporting my family because I just can't do it anymore, and I was the breadwinner, and, where we finding these resources to be able to tap into whatever those needs are specifically. You always have to ask, and if they're not in the place where they know what they need, then we can suggest, if that's what they ask, from what we've worked around to understand like different lanes, or we can be like, when you're ready to come tell us, we're definitely here to help. And if you're like, I don't want anything, then hey, we're here not to give you anything. It's just giving those options is vital, and it's so helpful because having that support behind them, they're able to continue being able to come on here and tell these stories, because that takes so much out of them. For us to make sure that we can do anything to help support you during that is very, very important.
Yeah. So y'all keep liking and sharing this out there in Revolution Ready land. Well, so continuing this conversation, I definitely want us to hit on a couple other things that Mama Cole shared. Kim, shout out to Kim. If y'all know about Kim, I don't know who y'all know. Kim came on the show about 2 Wednesdays ago, and just really hit it home. So shout out to Kim. If you don't have a Kim Motley in your life, you missing out. Yeah. But Kim has been doing a tremendous amount of boots on the ground on the legal side, of being able to uncover a lot of the corruption that we've identified within Wauwatosa Police Department, and from the top on down. So from the police chief all the way down to probably the people you don't see in the police department every single day that's been affiliated with what has happened to these 3 young men, and obviously to all of us as families and protesters. And so, Mama Cole, talk to us about, how it felt to now hear a lot of this information that you weren't getting before, how you've had to sit and wait on things that you were supposed to be getting info from, whether it be the DA or from the police chief or the police department as a whole. And now Kim has been able to, really be instrumental in getting that. And while it may obviously hit here home, but understanding the importance that it needs to be out there. And that more importantly, something needs to be done to the police department.
So basically, the support or other people coming to me, telling me what I need to do, pointing me in the right direction, to a powerful Black lawyer, woman lawyer, that basically gave half of her life, to be there for CPR. She's the lawyer for Jay Anderson and Antonio Gonzalez too, and other people too.
Yeah.
It's basically, very, very helpful. That I lost a son, but I gained a family.
Yes. Yes.
And always me and my husband talk about my son was a sacrifice to expose Joseph Mensa for his corruption, to expose Wauwatosa Police Department. We always question. We used to question, God, why did it happen to us? Us as parents. But God also told us we were just his guardian.
Yeah, wow.
We just watching over him. I love my son, but God loved him more. And I'm a very, very firm believer of that. And without my higher power, I believe I wouldn't made it this far.
Yeah.
And God said, it's not my time. I need to fight. And the little thing they know, they mess with the wrong person.
Come on.
You may have took my son, You may have took half of me, but I'm still here.
That's right. That's right.
You know.
Shout out to that. To still being here.
Yeah.
Even through everything, you still here, still being able to be resilient. So we pray for your continued strength as you continue to move forward through this, because it's a lot. Even, we transition here. We've been talking about on the past couple of shows about, the John Doe hearing.
Oh yeah, I love that.
It's like watching Kim do her magic. It's just been powerful to be able to see all of this, and my feeling, our prayer is that it's going to work in the direction of the Anderson family for Jay Anderson Jr. and then obviously transcend to Alvin Cole and the Cole family. But even talk about that. You've been there. You've been present at the hearings. I think it's been 3 or 4 hearings,
right?
And you've been present. So talk about even that energy and what you've been feeling in that moment.
Oh wow! So it been a learning experience. So it's like I'm there to support the Anderson family because, like I said, we are a family. Things that I didn't know what happened to Jay Anderson blew my mind. That he posted, and the crazy thing about it is when he went to the park where Jay Anderson was, Madison Park. I still laugh because it wasn't where he was assigned to.
Right.
Why was it at Madison Park? I think he just had an agenda.
Yeah.
I think he probably was upset.
Yeah.
That he was trying to find an easy target.
Yeah.
But with technology, they had showed everything that Joseph did wrong. Mm-hmm. And my lawyer, she was getting them, throwing punches at them.
She was.
Not physically, but mentally.
Yeah.
And, they were trying to shut her down for a minute. Mm-hmm. But she said, I ain't give up, Tracy. It just make me fight more.
Yeah.
And everything that we had expert witnesses that came and, tell their story. And we asked Chief Weber, my lawyer asked him, have you ever shot your gun in the 31 years of working as chief of police of Wauwatosa? Mm-hmm. He said he never shot his gun at all in the 31 years.
You believe that?
Yes.
You believe that?
And then the other person, I forgot his name. He's what is his name? It was another person that was there. He was a police officer too, and he said he never shot his gun either, and he worked in the Wauwatosa Police Department. So it's like, why is you the only one killing people and still getting away with it and still got a job?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That ain't never happened. Like, something is wrong, and we need to make changes with our laws. We need these police officers to get accountable for their action, because at the end of the day, you're still a person.
That's right.
At the end of the day, once you take off that badge, you're still human. Yeah. At the end of the day, you can't, do something crazy, and take another person's life again. So we need some changes to happen.
Yeah. Mama Cole, I just want, and not to go right back into it, but I just wanted to touch on something that you said, that you and your husband came to terms that your son was used as a sacrifice, and I don't even know if you know how powerful those words are.
Yeah. For
you to realize that and come to terms and actually be okay with that. And I just wanted to just let you know that's exceptional strength.
That's definitely.
Just to even put that out there, to say that my son was used as a vessel to make this atmosphere conducive for some type of change.
That's
right.
What I mean?
Yeah. And that's a powerful thing. I just wanted to touch on that. But I'm going to read a comment. You have someone that said, Cecil Lacey said, God bless you, Mother Cole. Keep fighting the good fight for faith. Praise the Lord for the support of TPR. History will record the outstanding work of TPR. Keep singing the race flag.
Shout out to Master Lexi. He always comes through.
Oh my gosh.
Love you.
And I never know that he was related to us.
Oh wow.
And stuff. And bless your heart. We didn't even know.
That's right.
Milwaukee is very small, but we didn't even know that we were related. And he been there for us. He gave us strength, encouragement, and that's why we stand on faith today. Because what makes us so perfect? Because God gave His only beloved Son to die on the cross for our sins. So that's that's very powerful. If He let His only beloved Son die for our sins, and just like my son was a sacrifice for Joseph Mensa to be a slave.
That's right. That's right. That part.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna make sure before we get out of here, Miss Athena, are there any future events that you have coming up that we can support? And if so, what way can we support you?
Yeah, so definitely tap into our social media, because that is where you're going to be able to see like everything coming up and like just different ways to get involved and things like that. I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. It was super dope. I would love to come back again. And thank you, Mama Cole, for being here and sharing your story and just continuing to do this work, because this is a labor of love and you're not obligated to do it, even if this did happen to you. But for VBJ, our Secret March Part 2, which is our biggest annual march every year, which is our biggest visual march every year, is going to be on the 12th of June. We have other smaller things in between, but you guys are really going to want to like pull up and tap in for that. And if you want to look at how the first year went, go to YouTube and type in the Secret March, and it'll be the first one to pop up to see how we like to do things around here. So thank you guys again so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm dropping what you was just saying in the comments so that way people can go check it out. But we appreciate you for being on the podcast today, for joining us virtually, and more importantly, for all the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Even though if you get credit, don't get credit, know that you're getting credit here, and people are seeing it, and people are appreciating you. So we're loving on you, Black Queen. So and all the rest of the women of color and women are part of Visual Black Justice. Y'all keep pushing.
I'm gonna throw y'all on our Instagram.
On Mama Cole, I want to share with folks, one of the things that you mentioned about the accountability, and Athena mentioned it, and obviously we know what is taking place in Minneapolis. Obviously George Floyd being a high profile case, high profile situation, and the DOJ coming in and saying they're going to do a federal probe over the police department because there's a culture, there's a pattern of behavior there. And so the same thing, I know Kim has been pushing, the families, you all have been pushing, we've been pushing as a community to have the US DOJ come in and review what is taking place amongst the police department. So definitely I'm wearing two hats here, so I'm going to share, because I don't mind sharing that information. That's something that our office, so I work for Senator Tammy Baldwin. And so we jointly with Congresswoman Gwen Moore, had a conversation, met with the Cole family virtually, and heard, what's been said, what's been going on, and been receptive to that, and want to push the DOJ, to, giving the green light to saying that we need to do a review of the patterns and practices of the Wauwatosa Police Department. Obviously I got my own feelings because of what they've done to me as an individual, but more importantly, what they've done to all of us. And even bigger out of that, what they've done to Alvin Cole, Jay Anderson Jr., and Antonio Gonzalez. So never forget those names, y'all. Never forget what has happened to individuals who did not deserve that. And we need to make sure that we're continuing to uplift that. I think the energy yesterday, you can agree, Mama Cole, was just like, was in that realm, right?
Yeah, when Milwaukee, people from People Revolution, when we was on stage talking about our experience in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, Kenosha. Basically, the atmosphere was really nice, different. The community came as one that we in Milwaukee do not have that here. You know, and it's a shame when we out here protesting, people don't realize we're not protesting just for us. We protesting for your kid, your grandkid. We trying to make changes for them.
That's right.
I'm not a selfish person. I'm willing to take that extra step, but I need my community to also take that extra step. You know, when we out here protesting, don't get mad because we stopping traffic or we making our voice echoing because we want changes, you know, or y'all get mad and you want to run people over with your cars or try to shoot at us. You know, we making a change. You know, don't be don't be ignorant to the words. Listen to the words.
That's right.
What we are saying. You know, we need to change those laws. We need to make a call. We need to let our voice be heard. Because enough is enough of being silent. You know. And I'm a firm believer that we are still in bonds. We are still in chains. But it's just a modern that they just killing us, our Black kids.
That's right.
You know, I'm a firm believer when my kids was growing up, you know, we had to be on our kids' back. As in, you have to still go by the rules of the land. You know, you have rules in your house, you have rules outside. You know, I'm teaching you how to survive. You know, not to be another statistic out here. But while man's trying to tell us how to raise our kids, y'all the ones that's killing our kids.
Yeah.
So we need things to change.
So I definitely think that, you know, Mama Cole hit it right on the nail on the head. If y'all not able to see, her mask says enough is enough. # enough is enough.
Yes.
I want y'all to see that. I want y'all to share that and tell people that enough is enough and recognize that the trauma that she feels, the hurt that she feels, but also the resilience that she has and the faith that she's grounded in. To know that, you know, this fight continues and why this fight is hard. I mean, it's each week we've been just diving right and dealing into this, right? Like how we just need to know that enough is enough. The world needs to know that, you know, but more importantly, you know, the laws need to reflect what has happened to Alvin, what has happened to Jay Anderson, what has happened to Antonio, what has happened to George. And that we just don't need these verdicts. We need the, you know, of course, behind bars, but we need policy. We need accountability.
Right.
Like how hard is that to understand? And so, I mean, we want to thank you for being on the show today and for just all that you're doing, all that you're contributing, that you're just continuing to keep going. Pierre, what else we got?
I just want to say, keep up the fight, Mama Cole. You're not alone. You're not alone. And to those out there who's watching, let's get behind each of these families and support them, like she said, as if it was your own. And let's just keep up the momentum. I keep saying that the last couple episodes, but let's not lose the momentum.
Let's not lose it. Yeah. I think we got them on their heels, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, Weber, he getting up out of there, but he's scared.
Yeah.
Mama Cole, I don't know if you saw the article today in the Journal Sentinel about the mayor. You know, some infighting, the mayor and the police union. They into it. I'm glad to see they into it.
I was watching. I think it was on Facebook. A protester approached Mary Bride at some type of rally.
Yes,
and he told her to go to hell.
Basically. He did. So Jill Ferguson, If y'all know Jill's always got her signs.
Right.
And she always ready to when it's time to be ready. But she was at an event last week in Tulsa, and she had an encounter with the mayor.
Right.
And he said something out of character. Well, he always says something out of character, so who cares? But he told her to go to hell because she didn't recognize the fact of the work that Wauwatosa has been doing to rid themselves of racism. So I think when they're able to show that and really prove that to us, find somebody who can believe it, because we don't, then the situation will be a lot different. But so the mayor, he finally is saying that the police union needs to be held accountable for what has been going on in the police department and also in the community. So it's glad to see that they got some riff going on and not us. So we see that we have been able to make some people nervous around here.
Oh, big time.
So big time. So understandable for that.
You made my day.
I'm glad you got a smile on your face underneath that.
Yeah, I had to wear the mask. Enough is enough. Because a person get tired. Yeah. When is enough is enough.
That's right.
Is
there anything coming up that we need to know about? Any events, any other ways that the community can support and can follow the families, you all individually and collectively, as you continue to fight for justice for the three?
Yes. So basically, my daughter came up with the D3.
Yes, ma'am.
That means with the 3 people that got killed by the hands of Joseph Mensah. She has an event coming up. What's that? June 12th, right? I think it is. I think it's June 12th.
Her performance. Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to be very nice. We're going to have very excellent speakers. Please come out and support. She will be posting that on Facebook. We also need, because we have to send, pay for our lawyers, because our lawyers do not stay in Milwaukee.
Right.
She stays in North Carolina. So we still have to pay for her transportation to get back and forth. We have found out that it been people using my son's name. Yes, somebody had asked for $1 million.
Oh my goodness.
GoFundMe page for my son.
Wow.
And my daughter, she reported it.
And it wasn't created by y'all, yeah.
No. And then they said it's not for the lawyer fees, or it's for the family, and then they have used Crump name in it.
Wow.
And I was like, what?
Y'all stop it.
Yeah.
Right. Y'all stop using these names and trying to exploit the families and exploit their trauma. Don't do that. That's not cool at all.
Yeah. If you want to support our cause and, for my lawyer to get back and forth, it is a GoFundMe page, and it has Alvin's picture on there.
Yes.
And it says, what is that? Alvin Cole. Who? Alvin Cole Life Matters Too.
Alvin Cole Life Matters Too.
Yeah. And it has his picture on there. I think he got on a McDonald's hat or something. Yeah.
So y'all make sure y'all share that. Yeah. Let's put it in the comments so y'all to be aware of that. And obviously that this is also on their official social media pages. So if you following the family, individually and collectively, you'll be able to see that.
Right. And if you do see that GoFundMe asking for $1 million, know that it is not the Cole family.
No, it's not.
And then I also want to make sure that y'all are aware, if you haven't already, that TPR is getting ready to celebrate the big accomplishment of 365 days of consecutive action. So shout out to TPR, y'all. Clap for that. And for everybody who's been a part of the movement since day one. No matter where you are today, but still want to make sure that we show you love and support. But more importantly, we want y'all to come out Friday and Saturday. So Friday is the Midnight March happening at 7:00. Meetup is at Washington Park. This is a midnight march for us to be able to walk into and march into the next day of being a year that we have all come together as a family,
Yeah.
and be able to be in this fight for justice. And then the next day on Saturday, 3:00, I'm not going to share the details of the location yet. You'll find out, just like you find out each day of the action, but to come and just a moment of celebration of just, giving love to one another, because we still need that throughout this, to be able to support the work that everybody has been doing, but also to hear more about how you can continue to stay engaged and how TPR is going to continue to be doing the work of making sure that policies are changed and laws are upheld. So just wanted to those quick shout outs. Again, shout out to you, Mama Cole, the entire Cole family. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're here to support y'all. Y'all continue to show love to the Cole family. I think we've covered everything today for you.
Yeah.
So we'll see y'all next Wednesday.
Tune in. Revolution Ready. And don't forget, lights,
camera,
Black Shin.